Hello, and welcome to today's Hanover Technical Tuesday discussion. My name is Alex Huntington, and I'm part of Hanover's in-house CAD division, and we specialize in providing rooftop layout drawings through our Layout Assist program. And today we are joined with Jordan Wanger over at Carlisle Construction Materials, and we're going to be talking about some project-specific details and how you can work with them out in the field, and also how these layout drawings that we provide can help you gather all the information that you need to help create a successful project. So, Jordan, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to talk about this topic. And for those that may not know Jordan, if you could just introduce yourself, what you do, and how you can use these layout assist drawings that maybe your customers are requesting, how you can use them to ultimately determine how many pavers, pedestals, and the details that you need for that project.
Yeah, of course. Well, first, thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah, absolutely.
um, so my name's Jordan, Jordan Wanger. I've been working with Carlisle Construction Materials for about 5 years now. Majority of the time has been in our specialty products division, which is kind of a separate division that we deal with third-party manufacturers, specifically Hanover being one of them.
Mhm.
Um, and we deal with one of our biggest lines is pavers, obviously. So um, yeah, we really just work with Hanover and our distributors and contractors to um, get the best design possible for the roof. So, a lot of these times our contractors have, little to no experience installing pavers on the ground, let alone a roof system.
Yeah.
So Hanover's layout assist program is amazing for a startup and a general guide to install on a roof.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, too, one of the main reasons why this program has started was to ultimately help you and help our customers generate quantities. I don't know how many times, throughout a week or a month, I'll get calls or questions, somebody who's never done this type of system before. And this program that we offer to provide drawings really can be a useful tool. And so let's go over kind of the start of a project. You have a project you're working with your customer, and they're requesting, some design assistance. How do you go about gathering some information about the project that you can then send over to Hanover in order for us to provide the best information in regards to a drawing for you?
Yeah, so the first thing I typically do is it's easier to hop on a call with people, but we'll get some people together and get an idea of what they have to work with currently,
Hmm.
and where they plan to go. So if we're dealing with a smaller roof section, anyway between 0 and 1,000 square feet, and it's just your typical rectangle or square, they might
Hmm.
just be looking for paver quantities. So getting that initial idea of what they're looking for really guides us to where we're going from there. If they're looking for, just points of contact, along with a layout, simple roof plan is just needed for that. And then obviously, if we're going to get into the full takeoff, where you guys help us with, figuring heights and quantities, then we'll go from there. And we need, obviously taper drawings if there are some, and that's when we really dive into the nitty gritty details of the project.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know you mentioned the tapered designs, and typically most of the projects that we work on together are tapered applications. Um, can you kind of go over, as far as when you get the project and you get the tapered layout, um, how are you assessing specific details in regards to maybe where the crickets are, in regards to your pedestal placements over top of your drains? Kind of how do you attack that once you get the tapered plan um, in your line of work?
Yeah, so it all kind of flows together, really. We, on our end, obviously the drawings are created from an architect and engineer,
Mhm.
and they flow back through us, and our other vendors of ours that help us with the taper plans and all that kind of stuff. So obviously, a flat roof is never flat. um, but from that roof plan, the either scuppers
Mhm.
and or drains will be located on that drawing, and from there we'll overlay with the taper plan.
Yep.
Um, and obviously those things can change over time. So
Mhm.
initially if we can just do a paver takeoff and get an idea to bid the project with, we'll do that and just throw certain quantities in.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, on your end, it takes a little more time to go back and forth, especially when we're updating those drawings. So
Yep.
really, on my side, it's always been a goal to get the final set over to you. Obviously, that in some projects we'll talk about here in a little bit, that
Yeah.
changes a little bit, but yeah, just creating that taper around the scuppers and drains is really what we try and get, you know,
Yeah.
finished on our end.
Absolutely. And I know you mentioned you did a good job of you always do a great job of gathering, information to send to us that we're able to
Try.
provide the best drawings, we're able to provide. I always say, that how good the information is sent to us is how good the drawing is that we're going to send back. So it really is important to gather, like you said, the most current information, because we do understand things change over time. So as long as we have the most current information, we could provide the best drawing. Um, I wanted to talk specifically for a few moments here about the Alta Federal Hill project that we had worked on together, and kind of the challenges that arise with that project. And I believe the first time the drawings were sent to us, a tapered plan was developed, and Hanover ended up, doing the takeoff for pavers, points of contact, and also gave quantities for individual pedestal components. Um, what was noticed was specific height, a threshold height, was given at a specific point, and on the other end of the deck, there was a large cricket, and that cricket created elevations that were above our finished floor line. So what we did, and working with you, Jordan, you guys were able to develop a tapered plan that was able to create a level surface, that was able to create those heights that would indeed create that level surface, which ultimately was our biggest concern with doing the drawing initially. Um, so I wanted to kind of get your intake on how you deal with the crickets, and maybe what a cricket is for those that don't know, and how you guys use compensators along with our pedestal systems to deal with those certain areas.
Yeah. Yeah. So with this project specifically, I believe there was an elevator that came out right where that cricket was, and I think that was part of the issue.
Mhm.
Um, so we'll start with what a cricket is. Obviously, for for our flat roofs, we have to direct water to either the scuppers on the sides or the drains on the roof. So we do that with mainly crickets, which is essentially just uh, double triangle insulation that directs water a certain way. So,
Mhm.
um, you know, part of a taper plan is always just figuring out where the water needs to go. So those crickets are part of that. Um, Obviously, if you have different elevations on your either ends of the roof, sometimes your crickets need to be higher than others. And in this specific case, it was a certain height, and after you overlaid that with our drawing, you were like, "Hey, this is not going to work here, unless you want to have something that's sticking up out of your pavers." So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and then so how those work in conjunction with the Hanover compensators. So obviously for um, there in the word compensate, it reverses the slope. So it allows us to get that level paver for your finished floor, um, even when you have those different height transitions on the roof. So they are stackable, and I believe there's on the Hanover website there's a guide that you turn them specifically to account for different slopes. Um, so in a nutshell, that's how that's helped us through those.
Yeah, absolutely. And two, the compensators can, they're a very useful tool. Like you said, they can be stacked. Each compensator compensates for an eighth of an inch per foot roof pitch. Um, Most of the tapered installation plans that have been sent are either eighth of an inch per foot or a quarter inch per foot, with either quarter inch or half inch per foot crickets.
Yep.
So really, the most compensators you'd be stacking would be four. Um, and people also might not know that we take into account the thickness of those compensators. So when we're determining threshold heights at a specific area, we're not only including just the space for pedestals and pavers, we're also subtracting out the thickness of the compensators, the thickness of the paver, and then ultimately we're left with our pedestal height. So yeah, really, as far as specific details for these projects, um, getting into the nitty gritty of what each component does and how it can be used in specific areas to help accommodate for those details is really important. So I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day today and kind of talking about these types of systems. And thanks again for always considering Hanover and, utilizing the layout assist program whenever you can. And we appreciate working with you, Jordan. And yeah, hopefully, next project comes around, it will be a success as always. And yeah, I just want to thanks again for being here today.
Yeah, thank you. And I would highly recommend the layout assist program to anybody who's new to it or just wants to have that nice looking roof when they're done.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jordan.